everyone, Tom here, Battle Rap Resume, here with a great friend of the show, Lazy Arse Jack. Lazy, how's it going, man?
Yeah, not too bad, man. How you doing?
I'm very jealous of you. I'm very jealous of a lot of people, a lot of happy punters in Manchester, because the first match day of Premier Battle sounds an incredible event. I've seen loads of comments of people saying it's the best event I've ever been to. The hype is unreal, the battle sounded unreal. Again, I echo, I'm jealous of you for going to that. How was it yesterday?
Man, it was crazy. The first thing that I noticed was there was a queue to get in. When was the last time we saw a queue to get into a battle event, man? It was crazy. Yeah. It's, it was a big crowd. The crowd, I was worried it was going to be big because perhaps it was filled up with people who didn't quite get battling, but actually they were reacting in the right places for the most part. They, seemed to know. So it was really good, man. The venue was sick. It was like, on a stage rather than a pit. So it's sort of, I'll tell you what it was. The main thing was it felt a bit more like the battlers were celebrities,
Right.
So they didn't really, they were all backstage. You didn't really see them in between the battles too much, apart from Raptor, who was, just on one. But he was everywhere. But they stayed backstage for the most part. So when they came out on stage, it did feel a bit more it felt a bit more commercial. Shorty Horror was like shouting out the sponsors every now and then. Also the way it was filmed, it was like a bit different to what we're used to seeing, which is quite raw footage. Like Briggsy came on stage at the beginning, and it was like going to see a pilot film. Right. He said, so when we come out on stage, you've got to scream like you've never seen us before. And, and they would do retakes of things if they didn't quite get it right. So it's a much higher level of production, So it was not only the battles were great, but it was also a really different feel to any other battle event I've been to.
Yeah. And this was a Ruby Lounge, which is in the centre of Manchester. Great venue. I've never actually been there for battling, but I'm sort of aware of it as a room. And it was to the rafters packed. Which of course predates the cues that you were talking about, but it was so great to see battle rap being so evidently healthy when 2018 on paper has been boom time for leagues, but maybe in terms of attendances, in views, maybe not so, but there's a sort of re-energized vigor about battle rap through this event. Yeah,
man, for sure. I mean, I don't know how Premier Battles have managed to come up with what they've done, but seriously, they just pulled out these fans from God knows where, and like I say, it wasn't even like they were just sort of like halfway fans either. They seemed to understand what was going on and be genuinely excited to see these people come out.
Mm-hmm. And you just had to be there, right? I remember asking you, are you going there? I needed some guy to be my correspondent from there, and you said yourself it was a day in history.
Yeah, man, it's like let's be honest. Like one day, someone will get the wherewithal to realize that battle rap needs a documentary made about it, because it's like if Louis Theroux was still doing his weird weekends, he would have done one about this by now, I think. And
totally, Vice, hello.
Yeah, and I well exactly, and I think that when eventually that happens. Like I can sort of picture the way it'll be shot. Everybody talking about 2017 as the year that everything fell apart, and 2018 as like the renaissance of battle rap. And yesterday you could feel it, man. There's something back in the air again. I think we're about to see another spike.
And I said before, I'll be honest, I had my doubts to a certain extent. In just healthy sort of, is this going to work sort of thing. It was a grand experiment. They were compartmentalizing battle rap to a certain extent. But as I've said before, I think they've renewed it to a certain level in terms of, the way the audience interacts and behaves there and gives back to the battlers. So we have these team-based battles. We have Shark City versus Mandrill Mob, and then Pride Battle Club versus Knights Battle Club. And, on the face of it, these matchups seem perfect. Like reading these comments back, it seems like people... They felt part of a team. They acted stronger in a sense.
Yeah, man. It was like because when you're battling, you turn up solo. If you haven't like brought your mates with you to a battle, you could have anyone stood behind you. You might have somebody who really does not fuck with your style at all stood behind you. But these guys, when they're on stage, they've got the rest of their team, they've got their manager behind them, and there was like a real sense of camaraderie between them, and it also intensified the rivalry. Like there was no sort of shaking hands in between bars, being like, "Oh, that was fire." It was like everybody stony faced. It was like, you know, the competition was well and truly back.
We begin with Chris Lees versus P Soldier, which, you know, was a sort of short replacement battle. Unfortunately, Shocks couldn't attend the league. I don't think he'd be battling as part of this certain season, but nonetheless, you know, awesome clash to see. Always awesome to see both of these guys going at it. How did this play out for you? 3-0
body bag. Chris Lee stormed it. Yeah, I mean, like, to be honest, I'm not the biggest P Soldier fan, and but he did have some really funny moments. Like, he had a line which was something like, "You can't imagine how pissed off I was to go all the way to Macclesfield and find out it's a massive field." Right. You know, it was quite reasonably funny.
Sure.
But it was just not a patch on what Chris came with. Chris was on form. Okay. They both started to peter out a bit in the third round, but Chris Lee's first 2 rounds were just fucking brilliant.
And was this like attacking Lees? Was this shuffle T Lees? What were...
This was Lees, like, fully going for it. You know, just sort of, you know, his opening angle was sort of like, you know, how excited he'd been to battle Shocks and what a massive step down it was. And, you know, he just played it really well. But it wasn't just that he was going for him. It was also that P Soldier had this weird Eminem scheme, because apparently Chris Lees has a tattoo of Eminem on his chest, and it just didn't land at all. You know, everyone after the battle that I spoke to was sort of saying, like, what was the point of that scheme? You know, it's the kind of thing that maybe you dedicate 2 to 4 bars to, and he ended up spending a long time on it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it was a very comfortable victory for Chris Lees.
Okay. Good to hear that. And I know that he's been tweeting about, you know, how interesting it is people talk about league tables and, you know, whatever. And I mean, let's talk about merch as well. Like, the merch, brilliantly designed, I think, by Sam Strickland. The more I see them, the more I love these logos. You know, I think they really are awesome. Great ideas realised. But people seem crazy for the merch. I mentioned before on the show that a lot of people have bought it beforehand. I believe they were giving it out. People were buying it. People were wearing it. What was the crowd makeup?
What you mean in terms of the people wearing it?
Yeah, I guess, because it seemed like a lot of people were donning the colours.
Well, a lot of people were, man. The only thing, like, I'm not... I don't want to, like, take away from anything that Premier Battles was doing, but, like, they would. So I was thinking about getting some merch when I was there, but you know, it's like £40 for a shirt, and I think maybe that's slightly steep, but
yeah.
You know, but they do like 15 for a beanie, and I was trying to decide on a beanie, but it's tough because, you know, I feel like once you buy a bit of merchandise, you're kind of committed to that team, which is the hardest thing about this, because, you know, the beauty of battle rap is its subjectivity. So, you know, to be asked to, like, pick a clan is quite
sectarian. It's intriguing. Old English versus Juan was next up.
Oh man, I love this battle. This battle was so good on both sides.
Really? Because I guess a lot of people maybe had one taking this old and easy target, but not so.
No, well, I mean, like, lots of people afterwards were saying, like, oh yeah, Juan, you know, he just took that. But to be honest, I think it was a lot closer than people were giving credit for. Old English was getting slept on a lot of punches. He had some crazy stuff in there. But Juan was, you know, going at it too. And was it in his second round or his third round where Old English got through like 45 seconds with no reaction, but there was so many punches in there, and the way he was rapping was crazy. And by the time he got to the end of the scheme, like, you know, when you can just feel everybody's waiting for the moment where they can finally show their appreciation, and then when it got to it, man, it was different. You know, that was a really good Old English performance. But Juan probably did take it. He probably did, but it was closer than people made it out to be.
And how were the results announced? Just for, you know, I wasn't there, it's not exactly clear. Like, after the battle or at the end of the whole thing? At the end of the whole event. Right.
They went through them one by one, and yeah, that was, and then sort of, you know, it was a bit like, you know, like a reality shows where they have everybody line up and reveal who's got through to next week.
Right.
Yeah.
Andrew Lloyd Webber Stees.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
Raptor versus O'Shea, which is one of those matches that should have happened anyway. Great that it's happened
Yeah,
under this banner. Sounding like O'Shea won.
yeah, man. O'Shea was on form, man. He was on fire properly, you know.
He's the man.
It's great to see. I mean, it was disappointing because Raptor wasn't as prepped as he should have been. He didn't really have a third round. He tried to freestyle a lot of it, which is a shame. But yeah, really good to see O'Shea back on form because he battles so much now that I feel like he's slightly oversaturated. But when he wants to battle, O'Shea can, kill pretty much whoever he wants to.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And I think again, he's another one who just seems really enthusiastic for the brand and the brand. Shotty Briggsy, I've got to give huge props. The thing was such a success. It's just so great to see. And I think like most people hearing about these battles, I'm going to be picking up the network, I think, that's on. So it's going to be them doing, with Sarcasm City and all the rest of the people involved with the league, contributing content to this network, like, WE, UFC, whatever, WWE. That's going to be awesome, man. Like, what a cool project.
Yeah, man. I think that, I kind of think that all Premier Battles is kind of like, let's see how professional we can make this. That's because battle rap has always been, if you ask most battlers, they'll say to you that you cannot commercialize battle rap, that you cannot, make it mainstream, that you cannot have it formalized in any kind of way because for reasons X, Y, and Z. But if there are two people who are going to do it, it's Shotty and Briggsy. They're like, Briggsy is, he's on, as a sort of like business mind and a manager, he's really on it. Shotty knows exactly what he's about, and also who's going to argue with Shotty. It's good to have him at the top. And then they've got Kruger on board as well now.
Yes. Yeah, what a masterstroke.
Absolutely, man. It's like, if they've got him, he's co-owner, so I don't know like how involved he's going to be in like the filming and editing stuff, right. But either way, just to have his guidance,
his expertise,
and his expertise, Kruger is, I think, the GOAT of British battle rap, man. He is never put a foot wrong, has he?
No, he hasn't, and he's got unbelievable battles and just his freestyles and his projects and his persona and just who he is as a guy.
He's the nicest guy, man.
Lovely guy. He's going to be on Mastermind soon, actually, with Gemini.
He's going to
very soon.
Gemini's going to take his first loss ever.
Yeah.
Kruger's going to body that shit, man.
We know it's unfair, and it kind of is, and we've all acknowledged it, but it's like, whatever. It's just a fun matchup. But yeah, I've got some really hard questions for Kruger especially, so definitely check that episode out. But yeah, no, having Kruger on board definitely is just awesome. Great to see that the amazing talent that Don't Flop brought together, with Bamalam and Bagnall and Callum, and it's not wasted. It's given to huge, interesting projects that they work on.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's such a shame, man, to see let the whole Don't Flop thing go to shit like it did, because the talent pool that was involved was incredible. But at the same time, if it hadn't happened, maybe we wouldn't have such an exciting scene in 2018. I think it's been for the best.
Yeah. Sort of the forest fire, fertile growth, sort of idea. And Koj versus Joker Star.
Oh, man. Okay, so basically what happened was Koj vs. Jokerstar. They did a battle before. I can't remember who they did before. I think it was Villain Bobby Rex they did before, which they weren't supposed
sorry,
to.
I should say I'm going by Connor Ainsworth's quotes, which he has corrected, so it's my fault for misreading them. Shout out that guy, by the way. He is... If Kruger's the GOAT of UK Battle Rap, he's the GOAT of UK Battle Rap Group, for posting these comments, these long... Like, I've tried to do it at events and stuff, like do my own thread on Battle Rap Resume, whatever, and it's just hard to remain focused and watch the battles and, capture what they're saying well and the vibe, and, he does it all, and he did loads of great work yesterday, so I'm not following him correctly. Villain versus Bobby Rex, you were saying, was the next one?
I think so, yeah. And Villain, I think, won that pretty comfortably, although he was sort of struggling to get reaction in certain places. I can't even remember if he actually took the decision in the end. I can't remember who took... Yeah, no, he did. He took the decision in the end, didn't he? Yeah, I think, but I got a level with you. I was pretty drunk at the event yesterday.
Let's go, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm struggling a bit with this one. But one thing I do remember is Villain getting a bit frustrated in points about the reaction that he was getting, and in fairness to him, he was deserving more as well. But in fairness to the crowd, when he said, "Come on, are you taking the piss?" Like that was crazy. They're like, you know what, you're right, that was crazy, and they'd give him his due applause afterwards.
That's cool.
But yeah, Villain was snapping. Bobby wasn't as prepped as he should have been. But yeah, all I can remember from it is being stood with LS Dean and just the two of us just screw facing at Villain's material.
Yeah. Awesome. We get into Soul versus Matter, which is a battle that one of the most important things in my life is Soul versus Matter to a certain extent. The first battle. I've always adored that battle. Loads of people would say it's their favourite battle. If you did a census of 1,000 battle rap fans, this will come up very often. The first one being, and the fact that there was a reunion of sorts, and I think Heretic put a status about it up a few days ago, or whatever. And it just reminded me again, nostalgia, the pain of looking back. This battle sounds almost just as good as the first one, though. Madly.
Yeah, man, it was a great battle. Like, Matter was on form. It was a really on form Matter, and some people were even giving Matter the third round. But Soul is Soul, man. How do you beat Soul? It's he's so direct. He summarizes his angles so well. He builds up to moments where he just tells you that you fucking suck, and you're just like, oh yeah, man. I guess maybe you're right. Yeah, Soul was fantastic. Some people gave Matter the third, but nobody gave Matter the battle.
No.
But best, I think along with Juan versus Old. One of the battles of the day, man.
And these battles are, by design, 90-second rounds. Quite brief encounters, and this seems to.
Some people were pushing that. Some people were pushing that. Yeah, some people stuck to it really closely, but some people were having a bit more fun with the time limits.
Yeah. But needless to say, this was a huge battle, and was this marked the end of the battles, wasn't it, for the day?
Well, yeah, although I think we skipped over Joker Star versus Kojay.
Oh, we have actually, sorry.
Which has a bit of a story to it.
Yeah. I mean, everyone is applauding Joker Star. I can't wait to watch this. People really going over the top.
First thing I got to say is Joker Star is the most unappreciated person in battle rap, both for his writing, his performance, but also the amount he does for the scene. He is like a caretaker. He looks after the people that need it, and he never gets the thanks that's due to him. So shout out Joker Star for being an absolute boss. Second thing is, he killed it yesterday. His performance on a big stage like that, when he's fully prepped, is crazy. He owns that space. But Kojay they were meant to battle before, I think it was Bobby Rex and Villain. But Kojay just couldn't be found anywhere. So they had to skip it for a bit. And when they eventually did find him, I assume he'd been somewhere rehearsing his bars, because Kojay it was so disappointing, choking all over the place, man. Really disappointing to see. It wasn't the best Kojay we've seen in a while. But Joker Star really went for he was absolutely bossing it.
Great, man. Yeah. Gary Gordon asking in the live chat, are Premier Battles being uploaded onto YouTube? No. Maybe I think they might be uploading highlights, I read somewhere maybe, but I think all in all, as we said before, it's going to be some sort of network type deal, which is awesome. I think these new sort of models should be pioneered, and that'll be really interesting to see that grow.
Yeah, man, especially with the way that YouTube are fucking over all the leagues with the advertising stuff. Like,
you can't. What the fuck? Yeah, of course there's going to be a huge exodus. And at the end of the night, then how was it all announced?
So they got all the teams out on stage, and they went through them in the order that the battles had gone in. And then, as the results came in, they would sort of ask the crowd first, like, okay, Chris Lees versus P Soldier. Who do you think won? And then we'd all shout like Chris Lees, and they were like, "You'd be absolutely right. Points go to Shark City."
Right.
You know, it's yeah.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, really looking forward to viewing this. I want to urge everyone to check it out, both on the live stream and in the episode in general. We'll pop the links when they come out, of course. Can't wait to go to the second match day, which I think is mid-April in London.
Yeah, man. I think I know it's in London. I'm pretty sure it's mid-April.
And was this some troll? I don't know. It's something about Lunacy versus Shotty was announced, or?
Oh, I don't think it was. The thing was, I had a train to catch, so I had to leave pretty sharply once everything was over. But I certainly was not there to see Luna versus Shotty get announced.
Well,
if that did happen, somebody please let me know and give me details.
Someone get in touch with him at Lazy Arse Jack on Twitter, I believe. You know, you can let him know. I think you've started sharing some of your bars that maybe you haven't had on cam, which is quite cool. Yeah,
man, because I've been trying to write for these upcoming battles, and I was like, come on, I've got to have some throwaway somewhere. So I got my old pads out. And there's been some fucking, I've had so much fucking footage.
Oh, yeah.
And it's today I'm feeling pissed off about that. Because, like I said, I've been looking through it, and man, I had some great stuff lost. Oh well, nothing we can do about it now.
No. I mean, you keep moving, you keep writing, you know, you keep progressing, man. What is the next battles coming up?
So, shameless plug-in.
Nice.
10th of March in Manchester. I mean, I say I'm defending my title against Flabs, but actually what's a more accurate description is I'll be bodying Flabs' life away in Manchester, March 10th. Come and see that. A week afterwards, 17th in London, we're going to be battling Raws, and that's on the first chalked out Square One event. So, you know, make sure you get yourself down to both of those. They're both going to be awesome cards, awesome events, and I intend to win both of them. So yeah, come watch me win them.
Thank you everyone for listening, and you know, please check out you know, the event and the pay-per-view, and when it all goes down, we'll put all the links below. Please follow us as well. You know, at battlerapresume, iTunes, Patreon, wherever you want to follow us. Jake, this has been a pleasure, man. Anything you'd like to promo at the end?
Nah, man, just support the movement. You know, Battle Rap Resume, Premier Battles Chalked Out, Code Reds, King of the Ronalds, everyone, man. The UK scene's looking good, so I'm just promoting that, really.
Awesome, man. This has been great. Thank you, everyone, for listening as well. Yeah, Premier Battles looks awesome. Go follow
it. It is. Yeah,
it is awesome. Yeah. Yeah. All right. We'll end it there, man. But that was great. Cheers, bro.
Not a problem, man. Take care.